Good morning to all of you. And so today we are going to talk or discussing on the topic of this machine learning that we have already discussed, but on more emphasize on that particular part. We are going to talk or we are going to discuss with continuation, right? So the thing is we have discussed about the part previously, that is the process of this neural network, that how the things goes on, what are the process and how all the things was calculated on the hyperplane, something like this is okay. So it was tough for me to write the notations all clearly into that whiteboard, okay, because the terms are writing the terms in some whiteboard with the text is not easy. So today we are going to check what is the procedure and what are the scenarios for these patterns and all the things. Right. So just a minute. Okay. So the thing is that you people know already the part of this linearly separable thing that we have talk or discuss on the process of this particular part that is known as linearly separable, right? So we are understand by the part linearly separable that it can be easily separated by a single linear part. So on this talk or on the topic of this linearly separable, the functions are always implemented in a straightforward way. So what happened in linear separable, that functions are always implemented in a straightforward way by summing the weighted inputs and comparing this sum to a threshold value, right? So this is the basic concept of linearly separable, that the functions are implemented in a straightforward way by summing the weighted input and comparing them into the sum of to a threshold value, comparing this to a sum into a threshold value. Okay. So there is a diagram. So we can see a particular diagram here. So what is this diagram is actually, so we have remembered, so if we remember that in previous we have seen, or I have tried to draw this particular type of diagram, that these are my some inputs. These are the inputs we can talk about, right? So x1, x2 up to xi dot dot xn. So these are my summation of inputs. Some inputs are present here with respect to, this is some function, summation function that is working on the respective of this weightages w, right? So there are some weightages that is going on this particular part. So x1, x2, xi, xn, these are my inputted value, and this w1, w2, these are my weightages, and this summation is a some summated function. And here what I'm talking about, that particular here, that this is my threshold point, this is my threshold value, upon which reacting upon that we are going to produce some output or produce some result or getting some result on it, right? So threshold value upon to that. So this x total, this x is known as the n dimensional feature of the input vector. So this x is the total of this input vector starting from x1 up to xn. Now if we actually want to distinguish among these features, among these vectors, the different features of this particular vectors, we are going to have some weightages, that is w, that were n dimensional weight vector we can talk about. Say x is that input vectors and w is my the weight vectors. So w is my the weight vectors that we are getting here, right? And these vectors, the x and w, these are the values. There are some values coming from it. With the values, then the summation of the processes will be calculated to get a particular result, that is the x into w. So the thing is, the process, the calculation of this x into w, so x1 w1 plus x2 w2, and this is the total part of this summation function, right? So if we see the thing like this, that the Prussell process, that x into n, the equation of this hyperplane, that is mentioned that x into w plus w n plus 1 equal to 0, x into w n plus 1 by w. So this is the part. So calculating the value, getting this particular value considering the scenario, if it is greater than 0 or less than 0, whatever the scenario, depending upon that, we are having the place or having the value is placed on the linear part, on the separable part of the area, right? So this is the consideration of the particular hyperplane. Calculating this particular type of summation values, x into w means input vector into the weightage vector of all the inputs and all the weightages of the respective inputs, calculating and then summating up to all this, then we are getting a result and deciding that what part of the value will be lying. So these things we have seen previously. Now the part that starting from here, that there's some special cases for this linearly separable functions. So I am showing this PDF because there are several lots of functions and numerical expressions that is tough to write. Okay, so that's why I'm sharing through the directly through the PDF. Right. So here the thing is that in this linearly separable function, the weightages from each of the inputs, whatever the weightages we are getting, can be varied. We have said we have studied that the input is fixed, but the weightages can be changed. The weightages can be varied occurring for the occurrence of the input to get a particular desired output. So when we are trying to solve a particular problem, we have some specific goals that is in our mind. So if my input with respect to the weightages given or weightages we have adjusted, it is not giving us that goal or not fetching that particular goals value, then we can adjust the goals to a certain changes so that we can achieve our particular goal. To achieve our particular goal, so this is a particular plane, the linear separable function. This is a particular plane or implementation of this term. So there is the hyperplane and the values are placed. Okay, so nothing like this. Just a minute. Okay, now this part, the plane that we are talking about here is the plane, that plane having the particular values of x1, x2, x3 and each of the sides, then the impression of that. So the clauses is that here that x1, x2, this x3, okay, considering this x1, the part here, x1, x2, and this x3, these are the part or the clauses we can say, and the total part, the function or the term summation of this x1 mod of x2 plus x3, the bar. So this hyperplane is the part or the where the graphical draw or the representation we are getting for the particular changing the value of the positive side. So if any negative part is there not, it will be changing to converting the part into the positive side to get a particular value. Now the thing is that here it can be some error we can find while the process. That error means that the goal we are not achieving. So that's why if we are not achieving, then we are actually changing the weightages value. The weightages value that is getting corrected. So that's why the error corrected is scenario is there. So the training set means the input vector that have a particular value in it, adjusting the weight. So the process is that we cannot change the inputs. So what we can change, that what is in our hand, that we can adjust it the weight. So we can adjusting the weight. So that's where the part comes, the error correction procedure, that the weightages vector can be changed, can be described to find out the procedure to check the changes of the procedure. So how we can do that? First, the thing is start with the finite training set. The first thing it comes with the set of the vectors with some binary labels, right? So there are some binary vectors and finite labels that is present. Second part, the part is compose that training sequences, summations of that all the vectors means the x into w. The first time it will be calculating the given input and the weightages, the total processes, and then if it is finding some values not is present, then the error connection comes into the scenario, the weightages gets changed. So if the model, the process what we are following, if it is giving us the result correctly with the given values of input and the weightages, then there is no need to change. But if it is not, then the scenario comes of changing the weight vector. So that's why it is written here that if the TLU response criteria, TLU is the model. So if it is responding correctly, so we don't need to change anything into the weightages vector. If it is not, then we can change, we need to change the weightages vector. So how we can change the weightages vector? By using some learning rate. There is some learning rate parameter. So we need to calculate that after which particular process. So when at the previous time we have seen that we are modifying, we are changing the calculation, putting the values randomly and finding out that up to which particular means the lower and upper boundary, what is the boundary inside the value can be resized. So that is some learning rate. The learning rate here need to be calculated, and by calculating that learning rate, we can actually check, or we can actually come up with this error correction facility. The learning rate needs to be get, so that's why a real number, the learning rate parameter needs to present whose value is different in different instances. So changing the weightages, changing the value, that will give us a proper learning rate, that will be providing us a proper or particular correct result, that will be providing us a proper or particular correct result. Learning rate parameter is very important part for the error correction values. Now here the three cases or two versions of this procedure we can follow, that fixed increment procedure or fractional correction procedure. There are two parts, fixed increment procedure and fractional correction procedure. So in the part of this fixed increment procedure, what happens that the learning rate parameter, considering any, suppose alpha, the learning rate parameter will be the fixed for each time. So whatever the learning rate we are getting, we will be going to fix the learning rate parameter and positive constant for all. So depending on the value of that constant, means the input, the weight adjustment needs to be responded. The weight adjustment needs to be done. So the input and the learning rate is going to be fixed here. And in the fractional correction procedure, that the weight vector, where is the weight vector before it is changing, the parameter of the learning set can be changed or can be calculated each time, right? So the learning rate here has the changes, has the opinion of the changes. So learning rate can change also with the respective of the vector or weightage changes. But in case of fixed, it is not changing. The learning rate is sometimes the fixed. So just a minute, this part is not required. Now this part, that is the part of linear machines, the part we are talking about, the linear separable part. The generalization of this process, the model, have the scenario of this type of, considering this is a linear machine where some inputs and weightages vectors are coming, and upon the calculation of this, we are having some result. So this W and X are the vectors with some input components. These are the W and X. X we have some values. These are some vectors with some input components, right? So its structure is something called a competitive, we can say. So the output on this machine, the linear machine, we are getting some output. The output of this linear machine corresponding to a number or changes to which it will be the largest. So the values we are getting must have been the largest value. So for that, the weight vector that can be adjusted by the W equal to W minus W1 minus W2. So this linear separable machines, then there's some regions have been found using some two-dimensional space for creation. So the linear machine, when this linear machine is actually going to train, there will be a straightforward generalization of the process, and if the process is correct, then there is no changes, and if not, then there is some correction rules is there to correct the procedure. So the thing that every time what I'm trying to say, that if the model for each time we can actually process, or we can actually correct the values of this weightage, we can change the value of the weightages to find out the procedure. So two scenes scenario, if the machine classifies the pattern correctly, no changes is to made on any of the weightages vector, and if not, if the machine does not classify the pattern, then we need to change the weightages vector. And scenario to change the weightages vector, that if the pattern is not actually the pattern is not actually classified correctly, So then the vectors or weightages vector needs to be changed. Okay, this is the part, or this is some equation of the formulas. That's why I've shown the PDF directly, because writing it a very tough part for me. Now, just give me a minute. Okay, so now one more part. I'm going to just cover those parts that have been talked previously, but the things at that time I cannot illustrate much better. So that part we are going to talk here. I am going to check, or I am going to talk on that particular part. Okay. So now there is a next part that is called, we have seen a particular part previously, that is known as the statistical method of the nearest neighbor method. So how we can calculate the nearest neighbor method, we need to see that particular part before that. So it is the part on the process of the statistical learning, and in this part we have two things. That first one is the Gaussian distribution. So this Gaussian distribution is probably a particular function or probability density function, we can say. So if this Gaussian distribution, the Gaussian distribution something looks like this. So writing this is very tough for me in the whiteboard. So this Gaussian distribution, it is a probability density function. So we can see this is a particular function. So it is saying that P of x, the probability of x, is given by 1 by 2 pi of n by 2, that summation of 1 by 2 e to the power, the value was this way. So here this n, the term n is actually the dimension of the column vector. This n is the term of this column vector x. So n is the dimension of the column vector x. The column vector m is called the mean vector. So the column vector m here, the m, it is called as the mean vector. X minus mt, that is the part x minus mt is the transpose of the vector of x minus m. Summation is the covariance matrix. This summation part is known as the covariance matrix of the distribution, and the summation of e to the power minus 1 is the inverse of the covariance matrix, and summation is the determinant of this covariance matrix. So this is a Gaussian distribution function, a Gaussian density function, that is having this type of equation. So in this particularly components of this covariance matrix, the summation of this covariance matrix is given by the following equation, that is I lambda square, the ij, that is notation, that e to the power xi minus mi, xj minus mi. So it is some calculating some distance between the inputs and some particular mean vector we can talk about, right? So here the Gaussian distribution functions, it is actually dealing the part, just okay, that's the nearest neighbor method, the class of this, the related to the statistical one, the nearest neighbor method or memory, the closest one that we can find out with this respective the nearest neighbor method. So consider this is a diagram, this is a scenario where we need to put a pattern to be classified. This x, this is an input vector that comes into the scenario. We need to identify the category where it actually can be placed, where these things can be categorically placed. So there are some several training patterns are there. So the training pattern was included, or training pattern, some classes according to the training pattern was distributed, right? So the training pattern, and according to the training pattern we have some classes we have identified, some have 2, some of 1, some of 3. Now a random input vector have came into the scenario to check that into which particular part this x value can be resided. So what is actually doing that by this nearest neighbor method? The calculation from the vector, the new vector, to the value, to the data, that the class that already have been classified, the features and the distance has been calculated. The nearest neighbor method is calculating that particular part, a k nearest neighbor method is assigning a pattern here. The k value is trying to find out by some distance between formulas, such as distance metric is used to find out the nearest neighbor method procedure, and it can be known as the Euclidean distance. As I said the term in my previous classes also, the formula for this Euclidean distance is given by summation of j equal to 1 to n, that is xij x1j equal minus x2j the square. So this can be the formula. As in general, the Euclidean distance formula can be written as root of xi minus uh, yi. This is the formula up to whole square. So this is the particular part of this Euclidean method. So 2 points. So when I'm considering a distance from one point to another point, that point have an xy value, and the second one also having some xy value. So the equation more specifically we can say x1 minus x2 plus 1y minus y2 up to the root of the whole, right? So this is the basic of Euclidean distance formula by which we can measure the two distance to actually find out the nearest method, nearest pattern. So the value, this input vector, from that each of the training classes patterns value will be calculated, and then we only can determine that which particular value or what is the nearest class, the unit or the vector, the new input vector can be resized. So the k-means nearest algorithm is helping us to find out this particular process. So this nearest neighbor method is actually something a training pattern based, because there are some training inputs previously which the classes was already predetermined. The classes was already predetermined. So the classifier is bounded by some equation or the value to get the result. And then again a part of its decision tree. This decision tree is helping us actually for the tree whose internal nodes the test or input pattern, and whose leaves are nodes on the category. So nodes and the trees, we have seen the concept of trees in our data structure part also. So the decision tree is particularly having some internal nodes as states, means the input patterns, and leaves are on the nodes as categories. Here some test and input patterns and some categories have been particularly followed. So some dimensions are along these decision trees. We can find out that the test might be multivariate, means the testing on several features of the input at once, or unvariate testing on only one of the features. So multivariate means we are testing several features of the input at a single time, and univariate means just testing on only one feature of the input. That is the test. It can be multivariate or it can be univariate. Second one, the test, it might have two outcomes. It might have two outcomes. That then if the test have two outcomes, then we have a binary decision tree. So more than two or two, it is a binary decision tree, and the features of these attributes might be categorical or numerical, such as some binary values we have placed. And this have two classes or more than two. If it is a two classes, for the binary inputs, the Boolean function, or otherwise it is a Boolean decision. It is called a Boolean decision tree. It means we are representing the total data, total classes according to a tree representation form, into a tree representation form, and it will be very easy or to find out the classes of a Boolean function. It will be finding out the classes of a Boolean function. For this supervised learning rate or this univariate decision trees, supervised learning, it is the process of univariate decision trees. That how it can be a supervised learning, how it can be called into the supervised learning. So first we need to select the type of test here. What is the process? That we have n features of the attributes. We are getting several features of the attributes. So if the attributes are binary, the tests are very simple. So we need to calculate the value whether it is 1 or 0. If it is 1 or 0, depending upon of 1 or 0, we are actually putting into those two into different part. If it is 1, then this side, and if it is 0, then this side. Then again from that root node, again from 1 and 0. So each time the decision will be made with respect to 1 and 0. So that if the attributes are binary, then it is very simple to calculate the results of 1 and 0. We can easily calculate the value of 1 and 0. And if the attributes are non-binary, categorical, so the test, it will be formed by dividing the attributes value into some subsets, and this decision tree will be a little bit tough rather than the binary values. So binary values only 2, 0, and 1. So when it is 0, we can easily put a value in the left part. If it is 1, we can right side. So calculating the value of the 0, 1 means the binary value. It is very easy rather than any other. It is not binary. So using some tests into this particular test, the main problem of this learning decision tree is that binary attribute space in selecting for the ordering of the particular test. So for non-binary attributes, we need to decide that what test should be there, because for binary it is very easy, but for not binary, we need to find out the class, then what are the tests we need to follow here, what are the procedure we can follow. So that's where we can have a decision tree implemented on a decision list, finding out the categorical part, dividing the subset or the particular part. We are actually drawing the pattern for each term. So decision tree with some categorical attributes considering A, B, C, D. We are following A, B, C, some D particular part. So the category we are trying to divide it or subparting, dividing each of the class. We are trying to find out the classes according to that with the value. So grouping of finding out the similar attributes, similar features, then putting it into the different segments, some A, C, B, D, this type of different segments with some categorical attributes. So the rows X1, X2, X3, there are several nodes are also present. There are some hypotheses and the class would be determined by this particular pattern. Suppose there are n number of patterns, and then we are trying to find out some particular pattern to reduction for the uncertainty of this particular process. So here the data overfitting is processed here. So what is this overfitting? So in the cases of the supervised learning, so if I'm talking about some supervised learning, means there are several data as an input or trained data. There are some data that is known as the trained data. So this trained data, they will flow through the model and train the model to give predetermine the classes or predetermine the sets. So this supervised learning, we need to choose a function to fit the training set in the form of set of hypotheses. So functions we are choosing, that is an important. There are several type of functions present, sigmoid function, the several type of other functions. So what type of functions we are choosing, we need to determine that. So the generalization of this is incomplete or impossible without some biasing value. So a prior of that particular function we are trying to give belong a small subset of all possible functions, right? So the overfitting here is the, so sometimes the data we are trying to flow or we are trying to train the data or train the model with the data is very high. So the training samples or subset of the functions that are consistent with the training set sufficiently to make useful calculation for the training set, and we can have this. But when it is much number, the data is much high, so it may happen that overfitting process that or the model of the data is overfitting the total model, means much number of data have flowed into that, and that is not needed, or that is actually maybe not proceeding properly. So this overfitting actually refers a model that training data too well. So the noise or the fluctuations in the training data is picked up and learned as concepts by the model. So the model is actually trained with all type of things. The problem or the concept is here. The total data is actually overfitted, or the features is actually fitted into the model, and what are the models, whatever the basic features needed, more than that the features or the model have the features. So the problem here is that to apply, if we trying to new data or negatively impact of the models, we can generalize. We are not able to generalize that particular part. part. So in the part of this overfitted, this means that we have too many parameters. If in case of overfitted here, it means that too many parameters are there for the justification by the actual data to build a complex model. So the model by using some overfitting data is become the complex model, and it has too much complex parameters as the true function, as the process for this true functions. And there is one more part in this concept, that is underfitting. So in the part of underfitting, that the data or the model was not trained by too much of the features. That's why it is tough to classify the data or to get a pattern here. So overfitting, it is good, but sometimes it create a problem. But underfitting is not a solution here. So overfitting is there, but it will create a problem in case of the parameters. The model will be much complex. The model will get much complex in case of overfitting here. So the validation method here is to use some hypothesized function, such as any part of any using hypothesized function to get a performed on the particular test. So several systems are there to get in the part of this validation process. We need to training on the test data, and if it is true, then the training on the test data enlarges the features with the improvement in generalization to get the classes or the results in a true way or the proper way, we can say. And in the part of this cross validation, we divide the training sets into some mutually exclusive part and exhausted with some subsets. So the training data set was divided into several type of subsets, and then the data is modeled or trained with all the patterns of all the subset values. It is trained with all the subset pattern values. So these are the parts. Then how we can avoid this overfitting in the decision trees. So this we need to, because overfitting is not a good scenario in all cases, right? So overfitting, we are actually making the model more complex to produce a result. So how we can avoid that? So to do that, the termination or the test, the procedure, all the patterns need to be splitted perfectly. Means the subset, it the data, how much data, suppose n number of data are there. So we need to split the data into the sub data, the subset. The trained data set need to be divided into subset of trained data set, so that at each time one of the subset data set can be trained to get the numerous classes. So fitting all the data or training all the data at the same time will cause the model much more complex. So the cross validation techniques we can use to determine when to stop or when to stop splitting the nodes. So what a decision tree, what we are doing, we are actually splitting the nodes. So in the case of this cross validation technique, we can actually determine to stop when to stop the splitting of this decision node. So if the cross validation error increase as a consequence of node split, then we don't need to split it again. So it increases the consequence. So by using this cross validation method, we can actually find out that when we can stop. So if the process, if the subset is dividing, if the splitting is going on, and again we are getting the same result for each time, then we can actually stop our splitting of the data or stop the subset splitting of the data at that particular moment. So no need to split that particular data again, right? So these are the procedures here, and there are some noise also in data. So what is noise? We have talked. The noise is some unwanted data that not actually need to be present. So first, data, raw data must have some noise. It have noises. So first we need to reduce that particular noise. So we need to check that what is the noise level, how it can affect our model, or how it will be being a travel to get a result. So first we need to calculate or cancel that particular noise, where the noise, because if there is a noise, if the data has some noise, then it will lead us to the problem of fitting or problem of training into the data set. So the noise needs to be calculated. The noise needs to be cancelled out from the particular part. The noise needs to be cancelled out. Okay, so these are the scenarios, or these are the parts that we have discussed today. These are parts were already discussed previous, but to illustrate much more on this particular part, we are going to talk, or we have a discussion here, so that the things can be very clear, or much have a better idea on this, right? So there are several types of diagrams and several types of calculations are present, that if I'm writing it through the whiteboard, it will a little bit tough, because drawing it or calculation, it makes tough. So that's why I decided to share the things directly from this particular scenario, right? So these are the parts up to which we are going to talk, for today at least. We are going to talk or discuss the more into the next classes, into the next part. Okay. So actually, in the next class, I will look for a particular topic what we need to choose, or what topic that we can discuss, because this machine learning was already in your sixth semester and we have talked on that. And in your this semester also, whatever the things is in your syllabuses actually was already covered, or already into the scenario, or already was finished by me. So let's see what more topics we can actually come through this, or I will going to talk on some new topics rather than out of the syllabus. So I will look for that, what can be done for betterment. Okay, because the syllabuses for this machine learning was already done. That's why scenario is like this. So there is 5 modules in your machine learning. Considering all of this module we have covered, just a minute, let me share the part. Okay. So this is the part. So you can see there are 5 modules, that is module 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And these are the 5 modules we have already talked. The rules, the multi-layer networks, the perceptron, Bayesian theorem, classifier, gradient distance overfitting, support vector machines, all the part was already covered. So let me check, or let me find out what more topics we can talk about, and then we are going to talk on that into the next class. Okay. So I would like to request you all to write your names in the chat box for the attendance purpose, so that no one can miss this out. So as the time is very short, please write your names in the chat box for your attendance. And the lastly, thank you all for joining into the session. Take care and stay safe.